Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world that we're living in. So, a couple of minutes late again, because as usual, just at the minute I'm about to start my live, chaos ensues. There's a big conflab outside the house with the neighbours all having a big conflab. The dogs are barking. The neighbours' dogs are barking. Oh, you name it. It all always goes off. Just doesn't matter. I mean, I do my lives at all different times. I don't have a set time, do I? Doesn't matter what time. If I do a live at 10 in the morning, if I do a live at 9 in the morning, if I do it at 9 at night, at 10 at night, just 2 o'clock in the morning. Just as soon as I'm about to go live, it's like a spidey sense around things start happening. It's like, oh, Vicky Marie's doing a live. Come on. Anyway, it's gone a little bit quieter outside, but it meant I had to close my window, so I'll probably get hot. And anyway, never mind. I had to put the dogs in the bathroom. So yeah, hopefully it's all gone quiet now. Now, let me put my banner up. Gives you a chance to gives a chance for people to come as well, and for me to give my little bit of waffle. And one of the reasons why they're having a conflab, it might be to do with something that happened this morning when I took the dogs out for a walk this morning. I'm going to waffle now. So those of you who don't like the waffle, go make yourself a cup of tea or whatever. I'm going to waffle for 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, when I took the dogs out this morning, very early in the morning, about 7 a.m., and it was still dark. I don't know what they're doing out there. I wonder if it's connected. So as we came out, my white dog, Riley, he is, do you know which one Riley is? The white dog, the Podenco with the big ears. He's a hunting dog. So he's been acting very strange lately, and I think it might have been explained this morning. So as soon as I open my door and there's like some steps down and like a ramp down into the underbuild, he'll run down there and he's sniffing like at the grates, like there's a drainage grate. And he's been doing that for a while, and I've been thinking, or even just if he gets out of the patio window, he's sniffing around the patio, around the plants and things. So what is it? Maybe there's been a cat in there or whatever, because he doesn't normally do that unless, when he alerts to something, there's normally something there. Anyway, I've never seen anything, and I've been thinking, why is he doing that? Why is he going straight out to the patio and sniffing around, or straight down to the drain grate? And as we were coming out today, he went, I've got a Buddha on the steps, and he came out and he went to the Buddha and started sniffing around that. So I thought, oh God, now I have found a kitten behind that Buddha. Well, not behind the Buddha, but behind another stone figure that I've got out there. One day I found a little kitten out there, which I kept and, kept as a pet. So I thought there's something behind that Buddha, because Riley's alerting to it. And it is like a hunting dog alert. He goes to it, he just stares at it. So I put the dogs in the car, and then I went back, pulled the Buddha back, and there was a little lizard. So, there's always something, he never alerts for nothing. He could be one of those sniffer dogs at the airport or whatever, or a cadaver dog. He alerts to things instantly. That's his genes. He's a hunting dog. Podencos are Spanish hunting dogs. They have miserable lives normally. But he fell on his feet because he ended up with me. But yeah, they don't get treated very well by the hunters who just use them as instruments, really. Anyway, so yeah, there was this little lizard. It wasn't a tiny baby one, but it wasn't a fully grown one either. It was, sort of in transition. Now, I like lizards because they get insects and things, don't they? Particularly mosquitoes. I'm not bothered about spiders. We have spiders in the house occasionally. They're like jumping spiders. I think they're quite cute, actually. So spiders don't bother me, but obviously mosquitoes and other creeper crawlers. Anyway, so this little, I did take some photos of it, but they didn't come out very well because I've got a new phone. I couldn't work out how to put the flash on the phone, and it was dark. So I haven't even looked at them, actually. I need to look at those photos. Maybe I can enhance them a bit and you'll be able to see the little lizard. So that was as I was on my way out. There's always a drama. There's always a drama. That was on my way out to walk the dogs. Popped to the supermarket briefly, walked the dogs, came back, and oh my God, coming out of the drains in one of my neighbour's house, I saw a rat. As I was driving up, bearing in mind it was still dark, and this rat was just sat in the street. I think it was a white one, and as it heard my car coming up, it run in the drain. So there are rats. I think that's what my dogs have been alerting to. Maybe at night they come out and go on my patio, or probably go right along the street. I mean, it went in my neighbour's drain, but of course all the drains are connected, I suppose. Not that I'm scared. I'm not scared of rats, but obviously I don't want one in my house. It's not nice to think about one being in your house. And I was reading an article recently. Rats are becoming more and more common and more intelligent and bigger as well. Apparently, they're mutating genetically. So it's probably, I don't know. I mean, I'll say I don't want this rat in my house. I mean, years ago, one of my nieces had a rat as a pet. They make good pets. They can make good pets, but not a sewer rat, But yeah, they tend to be white. I've only ever seen one other rat here in Spain, and that was over at the campo, and it was deceased, and it was white. But somebody I knew years ago, a rat came up the toilet while they were on the toilet, actually came up the cistern. So I'll be very careful when I go to the loo now. When I'm sitting on the loo, I'll be very careful. If you hear splashing, it's like, oh my God, is it a rat? So there's definitely a rat about. So I'm wondering if that's what the kerfuffle is, because few of the neighbours were out on the street, sort of. I couldn't work out what they were saying, but yeah, there's something going on out there. So maybe they've seen the rat as well, and maybe they're trying to catch it. Yeah, there's a lot of kerfuffle going out there. So maybe they're trying to catch this poor rat. But anyway, so there you go, a bit of waffle there. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. In this video, we're going to talk about the latest with Dezi Freeman, which is this guy, this sovereign citizen who murdered 2 policemen and is on the run in Australia and has been on the run for quite a long time. We're going to talk, there's been a few developments. Or possible developments, because it's like these fugitives, it goes quiet for a while, doesn't it, and then suddenly there's a flurry of activity. And actually the last I heard before today, they were saying they were going to scale back the search for Dezi, but I think what they're doing is they're starting from ground zero again, bit like, and it does remind me very much of Travis Decker, of that case. They were searching for him and they went quite far away, and there were sightings of him, and sightings that proved to not be him. This case, this is in Australia though, reminds me very much of it, and Dezi, a lot of people are supporters supportive of Dezi, even though he did murder 2 policemen. But, there's a lot of Australians out there rooting for him. Everyone has their view, don't they? To me, those policemen who are the guys up in the corner here they were murdered in the line of duty. I can't cheer that, I'm afraid. I just can't. It's impossible to cheer that. And one of the guys, he was on the verge of retirement. The other guy was a younger guy, wasn't he? So, yeah, I can't cheer that. I don't want anything bad to happen to Dezi. I hope he is apprehended and brought into custody peacefully. But, he's the one who's gone on the run, and he's armed and dangerous. Is he dangerous not only to the police? He hates the police with a vengeance. Many would say he's got every reason to hate the police. A lot of people hate the police, don't they? But, is he dangerous to other people as well if he's roaming around with guns? Or is this a Travis Decker situation where Dezi has, unalived himself? I mean, I hope not. I don't want any harm to come to him. I'd rather he was brought to justice in a proper way and given a chance to give his side of things, if you like. But anyway, so that's what we're going to talk about, these latest developments, that suddenly the search was being scaled down. Now they seem to be going back, searching more locally. Also, we're going to have a look at one of his family members talking about him, or listen to what he had to say about him. So don't forget, his wife and his own children have sort of distanced themselves from this whole thing. They talk about is this a mental health issue? Is he just deteriorating mental health where he got increasingly paranoid? Or, as many people think, did he have a justified reason for killing those policemen? Is there any reason to murder somebody? Especially, at the end of the day, they were doing their job. And they were there to serve a warrant. They did not issue the warrant either. They were there to do their job, apprehend him, take him in, and then it was to him then to answer to that warrant, which apparently was a historic case of essay against a minor. So, I don't know the full details of it. People have left comments and said, oh, it was just this, or it was just that. It was his girlfriend at the time, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, but because he hasn't given us a chance to hear about it, has he? Anyway, so before I start, I'd like to say a special thank you to my members. Thank you for being a member. Can you believe it's Wednesday already? We'll be in our live tomorrow again, Thursday again. Oh my God, life goes past so quickly, doesn't it? Time flies when you're enjoying yourself, doesn't it? Also, special thank you, of course, to anyone who buys me a Ko-fi, PayPals me, sends me nice messages, emails, etc. Thank you for every positive way you contribute to my channel. Another thing I just want to say is I've had a lot of emails and messages, as you can imagine, about the situation with Mr. Ego, and I'm deciding I'm taking everybody. I feel like I'm at this point again where I was, and I thought I'd never have to be again, because with the Nicola Bulley case, you can never win as a creator if you don't talk about it. You're ignoring it, and you've let it go, blah 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 blah. If you talk about it, you're grifting off a dead woman. You're just making money out of it. You cannot win. Whatever you do, whether you talk about it, you don't talk about it. I've tried my best not to talk about Nicola, since the family don't want anybody to talk about her. Nothing to do with what I think. It's to do with her children who are now growing up, 2 girls. It's all coming back again for them. They've gone through all that storm, family trying to return to some sort of normality, and then Mr. Ego brings it all up again. So I can see, I can feel myself getting angry already. So I'm just deciding, because I feel like that's what he wants, is attention. I don't feel it's going to make any difference to Nicola's case. If I thought it was going to make a difference, and that something was going to happen. So, for example, if tomorrow the police opened up the investigation again, brilliant, and then we'd look into it and we'd get, but just I don't feel like stoking Peter's ego or promoting YouTube channels that I don't like, that I think talk a load of rubbish, so I can't do that. So anyway, I'm going to prepare a statement. I'm going to release it later, a bit like I did about Charlie Kirk, when I get to a point where I just think I'm being invited to talk about this, really. And then you get all the hate off the Mr. Ego fanboys and girls. Oh, God, the nasty, horrible messages. It's like PTSD going back to it all again. Because if you disagree with anything they say, just because you don't think he's like, this fabulous guy who's doing everything out of the goodness of his heart, you must be a terrible person. You're not allowed to have an opinion on it, and they just jump in and attack you. And I did watch something last night where it was all the same people again saying the same things. I watched the chat, I read the chat, saw the people in the chat. I thought, oh my God, this is like Groundhog Day. Nothing. They haven't learned anything from what's happened. They're not, they're tone deaf to the family or to the girls' feelings, the little girls' feelings. Them girls, they'll be teenagers soon. And, they've got to put up with all this again for nothing that's been confirmed. Oh, and if I hear one more time that his sonar images have been verified, they've not been verified. He's got some guy who's finally said after 2 years, oh, yeah, they're there possibly might be a body. It hasn't been confirmed. Never been confirmed. And anyway, I'll save all that for my statement. I'd like to know why it's taken 2 years to even get someone to say it's possibly a body. 2 years. So, see, I can feel myself going. That's why I don't really want to go there. But anyway, what else do I want to say? But yeah, I've had literally not hundreds, but 800 probably emails about this. And if you include the messages and the comments left and everything, people are incensed one way or another. They're either incensed with me because I don't think he's God's gift, or they're incensed because they can't believe that, they agree with me. They can't believe how he could do this. And also, we have not forgotten about the Beagles and the Huntingdon Life Sciences that he, whipped off his website as soon as he realized people might not like it. He covers up his, he deletes things off, he covers things up. That is another thing that I don't like about him. But anyway, I'm going to talk about that later. Maybe not later today, maybe I'm hoping to do it tonight. But let's get back to Dezi. Good old Dezi. Poor Dezi. Do we say poor Dezi? A lot of people sympathise with him. What do you think? I'm sure you will let me know in comments what you think about Dezi. Do you think, if he hadn't murdered 2 policemen, listen, I can go with the sovereign citizen thing. Everyone has a choice. Of course, he is accepting benefits off the state, so that's a whole nother matter. You're either a sovereign citizen or you aren't, as far as I can see. But, everyone's entitled to feel that way. If he doesn't like the state, he doesn't like the state, that's his opinion. But murdering 2 policemen is not free speech. That's not free speech. That's not an opinion. That's murder, whichever way you look at it, whoever you are. That's my opinion. But of course, I know that people have got different opinions. Don't know how they can justify murdering a policeman. But anyway, there you go. So let's have a look at what the latest. Oh, sorry, I need to say hello to people now, don't I? So, hi, lovely lurkers. Thank you so much for watching. And hi, replay crew. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to go into the chat now. Who's brave enough to venture into the chat? We won't. I don't think we'll get any trolls today. We've got a lot of trolls with the Nicola. When I talk about Nicola, always I talk about Nicola Bulley or Jay Slater. Funny that, isn't it? Really, they're the ones where I get the most trolls, and they're normally other creators or come from the PF fan club, or they come from the MWT minions. But anyway, hopefully I won't get any today, but I might get some who are trying to sneak into this to have a little troll to talk about the MB case. That might happen. Hi, David. Hi, Bluebell. Oh, yeah. David, Huey Green. I do need a soundproof booth. Where can I get one? Look, they've all gone quiet now. I'm boiling because the windows are shut. Dear me. I quite like lizards, Bluebell. Blue tongue lizards. Yeah, they're cute, aren't they? They're cute and they kill the insects. Hi, Darren. Hi, Lily. Exactly, David. Everyone's got their views. Just don't, but it's just the hate that you have to take over it. But anyway. Hi, Sandra. Hi, it's Andy. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm going to present an article. Oh, let's have a look at this article first. So this is a guy, The Guardian, trying to get me to subscribe, but I'm not going to subscribe. I'm sorry, but I'm not. So let me turn that down. I do go into The Guardian quite a lot. Perhaps I should, I don't know. Anyway, so I want to tell you about this guy. This is a guy called Ray who apparently taught Dezi Freeman about the bush. But later he watched in dismay. It says here, don't hang me as the messenger, remember, because people go, oh, no, he wasn't radicalized. It's not me saying he's radicalized. I'm reading out an article, and that's what they're saying. So it's not what I'm saying. So please don't be horrible to me because of what's being said in an article. Let me just change that so you can see it better. Yeah. So Ray taught Dezi Freeman about the bush. Later, he watched in dismay as his friend became radicalized. And he says, so accused Paripunka killers. So this is Paripunka in Australia. His former bushwalking companion speaks out as survival experts say Freeman's chances of evading capture are waning. I just don't know if he's even still alive because there's been no confirmed sightings of him. I mean, the police have gone into the houses of everybody who knew him. Now, what you've got to remember is 2 policemen are dead, so they're going to be, they're not going to mess about, are they? They're not going to pussyfoot around. Because they will feel this. You shoot a policeman, really, it's always going to be, felt more within the police. That's just obvious, I think. So, look, he's got little chihuahua there. Chihuahuas are popular on my channel. Got a little chihuahua there. So last month, Dezi Freeman fled into the thick bushland of Victoria's High Country, and despite 450 police officers, members of the Australian Defence Force, paramilitary vehicles and helicopters tracking the fugitive, he has managed to keep hiding. So this is just reminds me of Travis Decker so much. I hope he hasn't done anything to himself. But how could he stay so secret if he's alive? Because surely they've got heat-seeking equipment and things, and they've got dogs and stuff like that. It's much harder to find a body, as we know from the Travis Decker case, than it is to find a live fugitive. So on Tuesday, what date was this? This was Friday the 5th of September, and we're now on the 1st of October. So it's quite an old article. But I just wanted to read it because of the guy that was like his mentor. So he allegedly shot and killed 2 police officers and he injured a third. Oh yeah, I wonder how he is, because there was another one in hospital, wasn't there? So it looks like this article was written just after the funerals. So since Freeman, also known as Desmond Philby, fled into the bush, and speculation has swirled around how he has managed to hold out in the harsh alpine terrain, police have acknowledged the possibility he is being harboured or helped by people in the community. So it's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? Like Travis Decker case, isn't it? You know, what is he being helped by people, or did he do something to himself? I don't know. We don't know. That's the point. So the police have said they're committed to catching him, but many locals say if he's in the bush, he will never come out. His bushman skills are too good. His knowledge of the area is too great. The list of hiding places is too long. Years ago, Ray Comp took Freeman walking around Mount Buffalo, showing him the mountain, and he said the pair became good friends before the fugitive fell in with the wrong crowd. I took him up there and it was a great epiphany for him, the Porepunkah resident said. So basically, none of us probably had ever heard of Porepunkah before. Now it's certainly on the map. So Freeman's love for the high country became more intense. He took up photography, and Compy took him on walks to places including Dixon's Falls. On Friday, Compy is leaning on his gate with his dog Luna in his hands, and that must be him with the Chihuahua type dog there. Luna actually means moon in Spanish, also means windscreen, believe it or not. It's got dual meaning. La Luna can be the moon, or it can be a car windscreen. Okay. So a convoy of police have just searched his home, one of hundreds that have been searched over the past 11 days. Compy says he has not seen Freeman properly in 10 years and he is not accused of any wrongdoing. We used to do a lot of crazy walks, but then he fell into the wrong crowd. He says Freeman became more ideologically extreme and would talk about how he had a great disdain for Australian women. The 2 men would say hello if they passed each other in the street in Bright, but as Freeman's views changed, their friendship waned. It was just like a switch that switched off, and that was basically as he started to become a bit radicalized. So this is a sort of, it's a huge area, isn't it? He says he taught Freeman how to move through the bush without using the paths, instead bush bashing. Through the thick scrub, Freeman learned where the mine adits in the area are. Now, we did see some bits of video where the police were going in all those mine shafts. So he says they hold heat exceptionally well and can be 18 degrees even at night. He just loved the bush, and I was probably the catalyst for that. He's become very proficient at getting around it. But experts say that his chances of evading capture are growing slimmer as the day goes by. You need shelter, you need water, you need to be able to eat eventually, and you need to be able to do it without being caught. This is the founder of Bushcraft Survival Australia, Gordon Deadman. Got Freeman and Deadman, oh my God. Anyway, this is exactly, again, what they said about Travis Decker, that he had experience of survivalism. But, look what Travis Decker now, and I thought it right from the beginning, they think he was dead from day one. So Deadman says, God, what a name. Enduring the harsh conditions in the bushland of Victoria's high country relies on 4 principles: protection, location, navigation, and acquisition of essentials, including water and food. Protection will be the most important for Freeman, he says, and that includes first aid, clothing, shelter, and fire. It's a long time. Well, if he is there alive, he must be getting help from someone, surely, because he just took off. Unless he had things lying around, he just took off, didn't he? It wasn't planned or anything. Police turned up to arrest him, and off he went. The only thing he had with him were guns. So he's got to be getting help from someone, unless he had stuff hidden around that he could, in case he ever had to beat a hasty retreat. I feel like he's probably done something to himself, which is very sad. And as I say, I wouldn't want that for him. It's much more preferable that he's brought back and given, allowed to tell his side of things, and also brought to justice for the two men that he murdered. But anyway, Deadman says the first thing Freeman would have worried about was his clothing. When he took off up the bush, he was wearing dark khaki tracksuit pants, a dark rain jacket, brown Blundstone boots, and reading glasses. But he would need wool or thermal and waterproof outer layers to survive, Deadman says. So don't forget, in Australia, it's the winter. It's just coming into spring now. So it wasn't hot. We think of Australia we think of Australia as being hot, but of course it's not hot all the year round. It's just been the winter, and it's been pretty cold. So Bluebell, we knew someone who changed their surname from Crapper, but I only know him as Crapper. Yeah, it's hard. You know what? When people have nicknames, it's hard to shake them off, isn't it? So Deadman says, sorry, I don't think there's another way you could pronounce that, is there? Deadman says the first thing Freeman would have worried about was his clothing. When he took off up the bush, he was wearing... Oh, sorry, I've just read that. If he has got that, if he has got wool or thermal and waterproof outer layers to survive, maybe he had a stash of it somewhere, he says. That's going to be aiding massively, he says. The weather has been hard to search in, hard to survive in. There have been huge winds, days of rain and blizzard-like conditions. Overnight temperatures have dipped as low as -1. Thing is, all these photos that you see, look at the blue sky. It's not always like that, is it? So you think, oh gosh, well, the weather's nice, but it's not. So location and navigation are less important. He doesn't want to be found, and he knows the bush well. Acquisition is water, then food, because water's more important, Deadman says. And he says water is likely plentiful. And the searchers focused on the area around Ovens and the Buckland River. So, yeah, water is the most important thing, more important than food, isn't it? For short-term survival and up to 10 days, food's not an issue. But he's been missing longer than 10 days now, so it will be an issue now. So he would have to hunt. I think he says that means he's using a firearm unless he has a hunting bow. I think he definitely had firearms with him, but anything he does is going to attract attention, and that's what he's been going to try to minimise. Freeman was a member of the Australian Preppers Facebook group, so he was a prepper, and there are concerns he could have stashed supplies and gear across the mountain. And Holly Robertson, who runs Australian Bush Survival School, believes he has gone underground to a shed. I mean, he could have a bunker, but do you see why it's reminding me so much of Travis Decker? Because we said all these things were said about Travis, and that he might have a bunker, that he was a survivalist, he was a prepper, he'd gone to Canada, he'd gone here, he'd gone there. All those things that were said about him too, but he wasn't. He was right there all the time, less than a mile from the campsite, on the mountain, Grindstone Mountain, deceased. But it's unlikely that we'll ever find out how he died. because not enough of his remains have been found. With Travis, his head and his torso was not found. So there's obviously animal activity, but was he killed by an animal? Did he kill himself? I think maybe he might have hung himself from a tree. I mean, it's just, I don't know, and we'll never know. The forensics have said they'll probably never know, just because I was thinking if his head was missing. Anyway, sorry, I don't want to go into graphic details. And as I say, we'll never know, and it don't matter. He's dead anyway. Probably good that he's dead in one way, but he's never been able, he won't be facing justice in this world, will he? So, yeah, it just reminds me of Travis so much. So she says, Holly Robertson believes he has gone underground or to a shed or somewhere that's warm to survive the cold weather. Well, they would have found it. They'd be searching sheds. If he's still moving through the bush, he says his body would be under a massive amount of stress. And bush bashing, even with a machete, would be hard. And in the cold, he would be losing calories quickly. So Victoria Police are increasingly concerned that people in the surrounding area are helping him. Robertson says there are ways to cover your own scent. Animal urine, dirt, smoke. How are you going to get hold of some animal urine then? Anyway, never mind. After a few days, especially if Freeman is eating food from the bush, his smell would change and the dogs may not be able to pick up his scent. She says that Freeman's biggest defence is the bushland and his own knowledge. But the fact that police get to rest and refuel gives them the upper hand, Deadman says. Stress and exhaustion mean he will eventually make a mistake. People always do something to mess up in the long run. You can't remain hidden forever. Now, of course, the fugitive that did get caught alive was that Cavalcanti guy over in America. The police dogs got him, Yoda, the police dog. Do you remember that? If you've been watching my channel for a couple of years, you'll remember that. The manhunt for Daniel Cavalcanti, who was a murderer who had escaped from prison. And that went on for ages, but they did find him in the end. But he was getting help. He wasn't a survivalist, but he was getting help. And there were sightings of him. Sightings of him, CCTV sightings, etc. Doorbell cameras where he'd gone to houses looking for help or looking for food, etc. There's been none of this with this guy, and there was none of it with Travis Decker. I'm pretty convinced that this is going to turn out to be a Travis Decker similar situation, but, maybe not. The other guy, of course, was the guy in New Zealand who was on the run for 4 years with his children, for God's sake. But there had again been CCTV captured of him, nature cams, like out in the woods and things, and he'd been seen at ATMs and robbing places and stuff. There had been sightings of him, but it went on for 4 years. He was on the run with 3 children, for God's sake. So it's possible, isn't it, in these regions that are so, isolated, etc. It's definitely possible that, that he could be alive. So how will this end? The Macquarie University criminologist Dr. Vince Hurley says police have been quiet about their tactics and plans on purpose. Of course, it can't. They're not. The police can't go. Oh well, we can't tell you everything that they're doing. I'm sure there's sometimes they say they're searching one place when really they're somewhere completely different. It's likely, and this person says, it's likely Freeman is getting updates about the search either by radio, a phone, or through friends. Now, he may have taken his phone off with him, but where's he going to charge it? I don't think this man is alive, to be honest. This just reminds me so much of Travis. Anyway, Hurley, a former police negotiator, says when they find him, and he believes they will then monitor him for 48 hours to assess his physical condition as well as his psychological condition. Well, we'll see. Will they take him alive? Thing is, they're not going to hesitate in shooting this guy. They shot the guy from New Zealand. They're not going to hesitate. He's killed 2 policemen. He's he's caused, this will be costing a fortune, this whole sort of operation, etc. So yeah, they're not going to mess about, are they? If they do find him, they're not going to mess about, and he's probably not going to go quietly, is he? You think he's going to stand off, death by cop, or do you think he will surrender? I don't know. So, okay. Now then, next one that I want to show you. Yeah, so this is a member of his family talking about him. This is his nephew, Luke. Let's see what he had to say. Is that showing? I'm a sharing. I've always got to make sure I'm sharing. Okay, so this is Luke Philby, his nephew, and he says his uncle Dezi always had a hidden anger about him. Now, we always have to take these things with a little bit of a pinch of salt. I mean, he's his nephew, but, is it true? I don't know. Luke Philby has complicated memories of his uncle Dezi Freeman. He was like an older brother for me growing up. We were pretty close in my younger days. I remember him being great, awesome, kind of like a larger-than-life character. When I was younger, I looked up to him greatly. But as Mr. Philby grew older, he began to see a different side to his uncle. He always had this mentally ill, hidden anger about him, like this hidden anger of meltdowns, Mr. Philby said. So here's Dezi anyway. Let me know what you think. Do you think he's still alive? Do you think someone's helping him? Do you think that he's going to get captured alive? What do you think? I can't explain it. And he never liked healthcare professionals to ever get a proper diagnosis or help with it. I could see he was aware of it, and he tried his best at a younger age to manage his anger. He was right into karate and stuff, and I think that was like an outlet to try and contain his anger. But he could never contain it. He always failed. Earlier in his life, his uncle went by the name Desmond Philby before he changed his last name to Freeman after falling out with his family. He changed his name then to start a new life. Now, he's been estranged from his uncle since 2018. So again, we have to take what it says with a pinch of salt, because obviously, he's not friendly with his uncle at the moment. So, it's possible, that it's not true what he's saying. Everything's possible, isn't it? Why is my thing gone like that? Hang on, sorry. Oh God, I've still got my banner up as well, which I forgot. Do it like that. I just need to go and let my dogs out of the bathroom, actually, because I put them in the bathroom because I thought they were going to start barking. But bless, now it's all gone quiet. So I'm just going to let them out the bathroom, make sure they're okay. And put the fans on because it is boiling, so I have to close the windows. Let's get these fans on. Yeah, it's still quite hot here, even though we had quite a lot of rain the other day. Move. Gosh. Any of you that have got dogs there, do you spend your whole day saying, move? Because they're always right in front of my dogs, walk in front of me all the time. When I say move, they move, but they just go further in front of me so that I can't. Anyway, okay, let's carry on with this. So yeah, he changed his name then to start a new life. I suppose he felt like the family abandoned him. The family did him wrong. They've been estranged from 2018. And he says that he and other family members have been left devastated by what he's alleged to have done on August the 26th. God, oh, you know, I mean, that's a long time ago, looking at over 6 weeks, aren't you? Is it? So, not 6 weeks, yeah, 5 weeks. Hello, Riley. Riley's come to say hello. He destroyed them. Cowardly. He didn't even care. He did hate police. And look how they've had to block out all the rest of the family and just him and his uncle there. So it was really hard for my mum. So his mum will be Dezi's sister, I suppose. There they are in another family. This is a big family, isn't it? It's her brother. It's really upsetting. She was crying. She was shocked. She's the one that gave me the news. So, yeah, apparently they've searched more than 1,400, have received more than 1,400 pieces of information and searched more than 40 square kilometres. None of them have led to any positive leads, but then we explore them and then we re-explore them to make sure we're following it properly. Okay, now I want to go now to the more sort of recent news, if you like, the search. I took myself off. Oh, hang on. Want to have a look. So, yeah, recently, now this was just an hour ago, so this is up-to-date news. Specialist search teams deployed near Benalla in search for Dezi Freeman. Police are continuing the search for alleged gunman Dezi, deploying search teams to the area around Benalla in Victoria's northeast. This is about 85 kilometres to the west of Porepunkah, where Mr. Freeman is alleged to have shot and killed 2 police officers at a rural property. So they're expanding, apparently, their search westwards. So here's Porepunkah. I'm not sure why it's flickering like that. And this is where the police are at the moment. Oh, gosh, that's making me go dizzy. It does this sometimes. They said that 200 police officers are currently dedicated to the search. It's a planned operation. No immediate risk to community safety. Really surprising. You know, I wonder if they think that maybe he has taken his own life. I've thought that a lot with, again with Travis Decker, because the police, you know, they reopened the park even though he could have been there. I suppose you can't keep these places closed forever. The reward was 20,000, wasn't it, for Travis Decker, even though he'd murdered his 3 lovely little girls. The reward's a lot higher for Dezi. Isn't it $1 million or something? It's some crazy amount. The reward for Dezi, information leading to catch Dezi. But just the fact they're saying there's no threat. Of course there's a threat, isn't there? When you've got some guy roaming around with guns who's already killed 2 people. How can you say there's no immediate risk to community safety? So a police spokesman said, or spokesperson said, further information will be provided once operationally appropriate to do so. This forms part of the ongoing investigation in the Porepunkah area in the search for Desmond Freeman. We will not be providing further comment on operational activities, which is fair enough. Can't tell people what you're going to do. Yeah, $1 million reward. This reward represents the biggest reward of its kind in Victorian history. Now, nobody's come forward. That again makes me think this guy is probably deceased. And like you say, bluebell instinct is he's not being helped. Because if he was being helped, surely somebody would have come forward to try and claim $1 million. For God's sake, that's a massive amount, isn't it? So surely that would have tempted somebody out, if somebody knew something. I don't think anybody knows anything. Right, the last thing I want to have a look at about it is I just had a look down X, like what they're saying on X. So 3 hours ago on 7 News Melbourne, they said a major police operation is underway about 100 kilometres away from where he allegedly shot dead 2 officers. New search of the ground. So I feel like they've gone... they've got reason why they think maybe. Oh, and then, of course, you get these, supporters of his. Honest to God, look at that. Dezi Freeman is more than a man. He is a message. A reminder that even in a digital panopticon, one person with will, luck and skill can still vanish. This man's a murderer. Sorry, but he is a murderer. He represents an old kind of freedom, wild, raw and unforgiving. Well, I wouldn't want to bump into him. And that other guy said he was very down on women, on Australian women, etc. Sorry, I think you're just deluding yourself. Oh, and then we've got another. Now, of course, these are just people on Twitter. That doesn't mean to say that what they're saying is true. So just... Fugitive gunman Dezi Freeman was once the prime suspect in another double police murder 20 years ago. He was a person of interest in that murder for a while and interviewed about it more than once. An old friend told the Daily Mail Australia. Again, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt, haven't you? Anything that's on X, if it doesn't come from official sources. Yeah, these are the photos. I think we had a look at the photos before. So these are the photos of the confrontation, apparently. That resulted in the death of 2 officers and serious wounding of another. So he seems to be living in this sort of caravan type place. It's a right, it's a right mess, isn't it, basically? But hey, you want to see my living room at the moment? No, it's not quite as bad as that, but what else was it? There was something else I wanted to show you on it. Yeah, and then somebody here linking him to the disappearance of some 4-year-old. No, I don't know about that, so I can't. Oh, and then we've got this idiot. What we must realise is that Dezi Freeman is a good man fighting for the freedoms of the world's children. No, thank you. Police threaten any local Good Samaritans out there who may be assisting Dezi Freeman with 20 years jail. He's murdered 2 people. He's not fighting for the freedom of the world's children. It's not going to make any difference. Now, this was a guy that, I think we watched this.
Or impeding their apprehension.
Let's have a look.
A new warning today. Anyone helping alleged cop killer Dezi Freeman could face decades in jail as the manhunt enters its 4th week. Let's go live to 9 Melbourne reporter Kiara Parker. Kiara, police recently detained a hooded man. Yeah, heavily armed police, some in camouflage gear, raided a Murterford home late on Friday in connection to the manhunt to Dezi Freeman. They were looking for illegal guns and detained a man. It comes as a law expert warns anyone assisting Dezi Freeman's escape from authorities or impeding their apprehension could face up to 20 years in jail. Police have warned anyone harbouring the 56-year-old is committing a crime. Dezi Freeman hasn't been seen since 2 police officers were shot dead at Paulpunka on August 26, sparking one of Australia's largest ever manhunts. As he said, that manhunt is entering its 4th week. Hundreds of officers daily are looking for him, and that record $1 million reward for information leading to his arrest is still on offer. Despite hundreds of tip-offs, Lizzie, there's still been no sign of the fugitive.
Kiara Parker there in Melbourne.
Yeah, so people were a bit annoyed about that, weren't they? That they'd threaten people with prison if they were helping him. But, you know, he's murdered 2 policemen. I mean, it's not rocket science. They want this guy. They want to hold him accountable. You know, you would if that was your job, and 2 of your fellow people, whatever job you had, were murdered just doing their job. You know, you would not be happy, would you? So anyway, I mean, people will argue about that all day long. The police are trying to find him at the end of the day, and threatening someone with 20 years in prison as well is not exactly the same as giving someone 20 years in prison, but I don't know. I know people have different views about this. I've had a lot of messages. People, and what winds me up is, you know, if you don't agree with me that he's at the end of the day, he's a murderer, that's fine. But, you know, when you come on my channel attacking me and saying nasty things, then that just makes me think, yeah, you know, he's probably a twonk like you are, you know, because if you can't even just say what you think and without being nasty and personally attacking someone, you know, what, already being shot dead and it is a cover-up? Well, do you know what, Bluebell, in this crazy world, anything's possible, isn't it? Anything is possible. But that would come up in the forensics and that. I mean, that's a massive cover-up, wouldn't it? That'd have to be. So so in a couple of weeks, they're just going to say, oh, we found him, but he shot himself or whatever, maybe. I mean, it's possible. And I'm sure that'll be one of the theories that will come out, you know, when they find him. I do not think he's alive. I don't want him to be dead. I don't want anything bad to happen to anyone. But I just can't see that they wouldn't have found him by now. And how can he be surviving all this time? Because they have gone into people's houses who have got any connection to him whatsoever, and nothing's been found. So there's no evidence that people are helping him. Whereas with that Cavalcanti guy in America, there was evidence that he was alive. There was door cam photos and that. There was evidence that he was being helped. But this one reminds me so much more of Travis Decker, where nothing was confirmed, where anyone had helped him, where there were no confirmed sightings. There was no not bush cameras with Travis Decker, but, no, in the national park where he'd gone missing, they have trail cameras and things. So, yeah. Yeah, nothing's out the question, is it? As I say, in this crazy world, nothing's out the question. That's the trouble. I don't know a lot, but why would they do that? Why would they do that? That's all. I think you've just got to think why, haven't you, really, as well? Why do that? Yeah, they still haven't found Samantha Murphy. That's true. Yeah, but Samantha Murphy, she's been hidden, hasn't she? She's been hidden by somebody else. And she was not alive either, of course. This is what I mean. So, whereas if Dezi is alive, what I'm saying is, if he's alive, surely with the dogs and the heat-seeking thing and the heat-seeking equipment that they have and what have you, have seen, watched quite a few sort of investigators, like who do searches and that, saying how much easier it is to find someone who's alive than it is to find someone who's dead. And especially after covering that Travis Decker case. So there was a lot of talk about that. It's so much easier, isn't it, to find someone if they're alive, because they give off a trail as well. He'd still be leaving a trail. He's got to eat something. He's got to go to the toilet. He's got to, maybe light a fire or leave tracks and stuff. You know what I mean? Whereas if he's dead, he's just, you could walk past him like they did with Travis Decker, 4th search before they found him. You know, it could, because there's nothing to give you a clue where they are. You just got hit lucky. And Samantha Murphy, it's even harder because she's actually been hidden. You know, Travis Decker wasn't hidden from view. It just took them a while to find him. And it was that forensic psychologist that they brought in, she was brilliant. I'd like to interview her, that's for sure, because she apparently took all the information. And she said, I think, where you're likely to find him. I don't know why, I don't know what the information she got was that made her think he would be on the Grindstone Mountain. But she took all the information that she had and she said, I think he's going to be there. Maybe that'll come out someday. Maybe she had more information than we do. She virtually pinpointed the actual site where his body was found. So, that's pretty incredible, isn't it? So what information did she have that made her say that? And it was the 4th search. They'd never searched that bit before. It was her that told them to go that little bit further up the mountain. Very interesting, this science of looking for fugitives, You mean heat, don't you, Dave? Is that is that the predictive text again? Heather seeking equipment. Where's Heather? Where's the Heather seeking equipment? Is it getting on my nudges? No Heather seeking equipment. Oh dear. So yeah. So as always, let me know what you think. Oh, look at that. I've spelt the title wrong. Anyway, never mind. People know what it means. Honestly, I've got this terrible keyboard. I need to get a different keyboard, actually, because what it does when I'm clicking, sometimes it misses a letter. So when I've done the title for this, it's got the search narrows down because the E didn't come out. When I've and the T hasn't come out in situation. Definitely need a new keyboard. The search narrows down. I'm going to change that. Oh, situation. So I'm just doing that while I'm on search because I'm going to go and have lunch in a minute. Situation. Yeah, so whenever I type things out, I think that's okay now. Is it? Yeah, whenever I type something out, it misses some letters out. It's really annoying, but I'm pressing them. It just doesn't register them because it's crapo. I'm trying to save the changes now. I'm not trying to change the start time. Anyway, never mind. I'll change it later. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll see you really soon in the next video. As I say, let me know, as always, what you think in comments. And until I see you again, very important, may your God go with you. Bye.